What's going on, everyone? So this video is going to be all about prep centers, what they are, and the pros and cons of them, and when I recommend actually getting one. So a prep center is essentially just a warehouse that is going to receive your packages, inspect your books, list them on Amazon for you, and then ship them to an Amazon FBA warehouse. In other words, they're doing absolutely everything that you do right now, but they're just going to do it way faster and with more efficiency. But obviously, they're going to do it for a cost. Like, you're going to have to pay them to do that on a per book fee. So just to keep it super simple, when do I recommend getting one? I recommend getting one when you don't have enough time to source. So a little bit later on in the masterclass, we're going to talk about the cash flow management system called Profit First. And right now, it probably seems really confusing because you haven't watched that video. But one of the accounts that you're going to have is called Cost of Goods Sold. And that account has money in it for you to buy inventory, for you to buy books. And if you're getting to the point where, let's say you have money left over in that account because you're simply just running out of time in the day to spend that money to buy inventory, then what that tells me is that you have a problem with time and not necessarily capital. You have enough money to buy the things you need, and actually too much money. You don't have enough time to actually go out and source and buy inventory. So in that case, if you don't have enough time to source, that's when you definitely should consider transitioning over to a prep center. Again, right now, if you don't have a prep center, you're doing all of your prep. And again, all I really want to do is just make you feel comfortable with the idea of getting a prep center. It's actually way simple. It's way easier than you would think. And really all you have to imagine is that they're just going to do exactly what you do. So you know, when you have questions about what a prep center is going to do, well, just ask yourself, what would you do? So for example, you know, if you get packages at the door, what do you do? Well, you open the packages and you inspect the books. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to open the packages and inspect the books. And you might ask, well, you know, what happens to you when you get a book and it's not described in the same condition? You bought a book in very good condition, it comes in acceptable condition. Well, what would you do? You probably would return the book. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to return the book for you as well, right? So they are essentially just going to operate like you would operate. They're just going to do way faster, way more efficiently. So what exactly are the pros? Well, the number one pros is that it saves a lot of time. And you can use that time to go source, right? If you think about those two tasks in your business, prepping items and sourcing, one of them definitely takes more skill, and that's sourcing. Prepping and listing and that sort of stuff, that doesn't actually take that much skill. That's just manual labor. But sourcing is a higher skill level, right? And the other thing is that sourcing is also a higher dollar per hour task than prepping items is. So it saves you a lot of time. Or, you know, let's say instead of spending 5 hours a week shipping books out, you can now spend that 5 hours a week on some other aspect of your business, or ideally on sourcing, okay? Now, it saves a time in a lot of ways that you might not think. So the first way it might save time is just the fact of just opening up packages. I live in an apartment complex. I have to go down to the mailbox to go get all the packages. Like, that takes time. Just walking down there, grabbing all the packages and bringing them up. Like, you'd be surprised how long that takes. Unpacking them, not only that, getting all that material, all of that cardboard that needs to be recycled, breaking it all down, and then taking it to the trash can or to the recycle bin, that takes time, right? Not only that, you notice you got a book in acceptable condition with water damage and you bought it in very good condition. You have to go down and track down that book. You got to figure out who sent it to you, right? Obviously, it would say on the shipping label, but you got to track that order down Amazon. Then you got to, you know, go ahead and make a return. You have to return it, get a return shipping label, put that book in another package, you know, go ahead and print out the shipping label, tape it on there. And then you might need to go drive to UPS and drop it off, right? So there's all these little things that you don't think about that take you tons and tons of time. And the whole thing is that you never touch a book, right? If the book goes to your prep center, you never, ever touch the book. And so that saves you tons of time that you can then use for higher value, higher dollar tasks like sourcing. Okay. The second pro is that books are checked in faster and more consistently. Basically, I'll show you my spreadsheet. So I have a spreadsheet with Central Virginia Prep. And you can see on the bottom of my spreadsheet how often they ship. So this is my current inventory receiving spreadsheet. So these are books that are coming to them right now. You can see quantity in one means that they received them on these dates. You see no quantity, and that means these are books that are waiting to show up here. And some of these I have to go back and delete because some of these are from a long time ago. So a lot of these are probably canceled orders. So, you know, that's something that I have to go back and something that I'm going to be trying to do later on next year is get a VA for sort of administrative tasks like, checking cancel orders and stuff like that. So, I'm not perfect either. Just know that, right? But if I look at some of the other books, you can see here are some books that have recently started coming in, right? Now, what I want to show you, though, is look at how often they're shipping. So 38 items shipped on 10/23, which was 2 days ago. Then you had 24 items shipped on 10/18. 2 days before that, 25 items shipped. 4 days before that, you had 36 items shipped. 2 days before that, you had 29. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was doing my own prep, I was not getting, 25, 30 books out the door every 2 days. And, I wouldn't say I'm a lazy person. I would just say that it's a little bit difficult to get all of that out and do it consistently, especially with having a full-time job, having a newborn son. Like, it's just literally not possible. The third thing is that you don't need to deal with returns yourself. So if you get a book in the mail and you got it at your house, you have to open it up. If it's moldy and you have to return it, you have to go to Amazon.com, request a return, which you still have to do if you have a prep center. But what you do with the prep center is you just email them the shipping label and they do everything else. If you're doing it here, you'd have to find a new package to put that moldy book in, and you'd have to, go and print out the shipping label and tape the shipping label on, and then you'd have to drop it off at UPS or have UPS pick it up and pay them to come pick it up, right? So you don't have to deal with those returns yourself, and that has a more time savings, okay? The cool thing is that if you're tax exempt, you can actually pay for the prepping service. So a little bit later actually I think it was earlier, I can't remember where exactly in the masterclass, somewhere there's going to be how to get tax exempt on Amazon and eBay. And the good news is if you live in any state that has sales tax, you're going to be saving anywhere from 4% to 9%, depending on what the sales tax of the state you live in is. And that could very easily pay for the cost to prep the book and send it to Amazon. So, I pay $2.25 per book. That's the fee for Central Virginia Prep, which is who I use. So if you do the math, right, if I, let's say, buy 4 or 5 books for, $20 each, that might be close to $100. And, the amount of sales tax that I pay on that would be about $9. And that $9 would basically pay for the prepping of the 4 books. So in other words, if you just get tax exempt through the videos that I show you, then basically you're not really adding any additional cost and you're getting your books prepped faster for you. So in that case, it's a win-win, right? Obviously, you still have to pay for it because money's coming out of your pocket. But the thing is, if you get tax exempt, you're no longer paying sales tax. That money can then be allocated to getting your stuff prepped. The other thing is that you have a clutter-free house. Who wants hundreds and hundreds of books? Who wants the eBay death pile? It would be the Amazon death pile. Who wants a death pile in their house? I don't want a death pile in my house. And your wife and husband will actually like you again. That's a joke. But my wife, when I was prepping my own stuff, I still actually do a little bit of prep myself, but 95% goes to my prep center. But, my wife, she doesn't like when there's stacks and stacks of books in the bedroom. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, right? It doesn't look pretty. So it is going to improve your relationship with your partner because they probably will like that. Hey, your space is no longer, whole bunch of cardboard boxes and void material and all the shipping supplies and all the books that are sitting around the death pile. It improves your relationship, okay? It also improves your health. I don't know about you guys, I'm a small guy. I weigh 125 pounds. Lifting 50-pound boxes and doing that every day or every other day, I have to go down a flight of stairs. And if I go down a flight of stairs, then, it's gonna do wear and tear on my back, right? So I'd rather have someone else do that. And the good thing is I can pay someone else to do that. Now, obviously, you can pay someone to pick up boxes at your house. You can pay UPS $4 for a pickup. And I actually do that when I have to send out my own shipments. I don't actually lug them down. But I'm just saying, if you're somebody who's always hauling stuff to to UPS and they're 50-pound boxes, right? Depending on how big or small you are, especially if you're, especially if you're a woman or you're female and you're more petite, 50-pound boxes are no joke. I'm 120 pounds. I find 50-pound boxes to be, challenging to move. I can move them, obviously, but I'm just saying it's kind of challenging and wear and tear on your back. And the really good thing is that, having a prep center requires you to be more organized. You have to track your inventory. So, all this inventory that you're seeing here, I have to track it on my own spreadsheet so that then I can put it on the inventory spreadsheet. And so tracking your inventory is going to help you determine if you're actually profitable in your business. It's going to help you figure out, hey, where is this book at? How come I never got it? It helps you keep track of things, and that's a benefit. Maybe another pro that I want to add here that I didn't talk about is just that it generally pays for itself. And what I mean by that is, down here under the cons, under added costs, you're going to have to pay anywhere between $1.75 to $2.25 per book, depending on which prep center you use, if you use one of these that I recommend. But all of the time that the prep center saves you has an insane value. So I don't want you just to think like you're paying $2.25 and just it's a vacuum and just goes one way. It's like all of the time that's being saved by having a prep center actually has immense economic value, immense money value. Like if I no longer need to drive to UPS and it takes me 10 minutes to get there, if it took me 5 minutes to load the car, 10 minutes to get there, 5 minutes to get everything dropped off, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes to get back, like that's 30 minutes. If you're working at $50 an hour, $60 an hour, that costs you $25 in your time. So in other words, the time it saves you has value. And so in other words, the cost per book is actually quite reasonable when you think about how much time it's saving you, especially when you think about getting tax exempt and having the tax exemption essentially just reallocate the money you would have paid for sales tax to getting your inventory shipped for you. So obviously the con is it is going to cost more money per book. And what I recommend is if you're starting out new and maybe you're not even able to buy a whole bunch of books yet, it probably makes more sense to do your own listing anyways, because if you have more time and less capital, then you should be using that time to help yourself save some money, right? So that you can start building capital. Once you start getting past that balance where now you have, more capital and less time, that's when you need to start automating things. And that's why getting a prep center would be very beneficial. Now, what prep centers do I recommend? I recommend Central Virginia Prep. I currently use them. I actually have an interview I did with the owner, Shannon Mann. Here it is on my YouTube channel. I linked it up. 5 months ago, almost 1,000 people watched it. I've broken it up into a whole bunch of different things like, are you going to be stealing my inventory? What happens when you get a book that's in, terrible condition and we need to return it? So a whole bunch of questions that I asked her. A wonderful guest. And I know a lot of people in the comment section have found that to be very helpful for them, okay? The other prep site I've heard really great things about is Little Owl. And so they're in Ohio. I've heard amazing things from them, from a number of people that use them. I've never personally used them, although in the future, I think I will actually bring them on as a second prep center so that I have a little bit of diversification. One of my good friends, Victor Gallegos, has 2 prep centers as well. And one of the reasons why he says that is both of his prep centers are located in natural disaster prone areas. So you don't know, right, if a hurricane's going to go through. I mean, technically I'm in Central Virginia Prep, so I don't know what kind of Virginia. I don't think they have tornadoes there, but maybe it's possible that they could get a hurricane, right? So last thing you want is the warehouse to be completely flooded and all your inventory gets destroyed and you have no way of shipping books. So I'm thinking about probably going to expand to Little Owl, but I hope this was a good overview of a prep center. Overall, I recommend getting one if you don't have enough time to source. So if you're sitting there going, I've got this money to spend, but I got to ship the books, boom, get one. Also, what I will say, one thing to add to that is if you're somebody who's prone to death piles and you're just buying and buying and buying and not sending anything in, then in that case, the value you would get from just sending to a prep center is way greater because books will just show up at the warehouse and you won't have to deal with the death pile. So in that case, if you're someone who just buys and never does anything in terms of shipping anything in, then absolutely I would recommend that as well. So I hope this was helpful. Prep centers are not scary. All you really need to do to reach out to Central Virginia Prep is just send them an email. And I believe I've even showed you in this video here, I've even showed you how to do that. So I showed that. Yeah, where to find and sign up with Central Virginia Prep. So in that video, if you watch it, I give you a way for you to contact Shanna if you want to use Central Virginia Prep. Yeah, I think they do charge $225 per book. I think Little Owl charges $175, although I could be wrong. They're a little bit cheaper, but also a really good service. So it's up to you, whoever you want to use. I've heard great things about them. I have no problem with Central Virginia Prep. Obviously, they're doing a great job. Every couple of days, they're sending out books for me. And this goes back months and months and months and months and months and months and months. So awesome prep center and very transformational for my business. So with that said, let's get on to the next video.